Welcome to Nutrition Deep Dives. Today I'll be doing a deep dive on butter. I will be telling you about the history of butter, the nutritious facts of butter. This is butter right here, in case you guys didn't know. I'm sure you did because it's all over the world in every single country available to mankind. Beautiful butter. This is rolled butter. It comes in many different forms. It can come in tubs. It can come whipped. It can come in little square blocks that you get from the store. Don't be fooled. There's a lot of products that claim to be butter, but it's not butter. You got to look out for those healthy butters without saturated fat. They're not good for you. They actually contain a whole bunch of seed oils and bad oils that are just horrible for your body. So if you think you're being healthy by eating a quote unquote healthy margarine or healthy spread, you're most likely just harming your body more than you even know. Once again, I always talk about anti-inflammatories. Some of those margarines, they contain seed oils that just screw up your stomach, screw up your digestive tract, and that's not what you're looking for. When you're cooking with a cooking base like butter, which is like my essential cooking base besides olive oil. I stay away from vegetable oils and stuff like that. So if anything, I'm always using butter. I prefer rolled butter. It doesn't matter if it's in blocks or rolled. I just like the way it looks. It looks fancy. Let me get into the nutritional values of butter. Butter is a calorie-dense dairy product. There is about 100 to 102 calories in each tablespoon of butter. It is composed of about 80 to 82% fat. It is high in saturated fat and provides fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin E, and vitamin K, and some vitamin D. It is low in lactose and protein, making it suitable for you people out there with lactose intolerant stomachs. I would consider myself semi-lactose intolerant. I only drink coffee with milk and I will make recipes with milk. But when it comes to butter, I'll use as much butter as I want to. I think butter's just fantastic. Forgive me for my pronunciation of this. There are over 400 different fatty acids in butter. It's pretty crazy. Some of the more exclusive ones are butyrate and conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, which has been linked to health benefits like improved metabolic functions, which means it helps your stomach and metabolize the food that you consume better. Moderate butter consumption, around 1 tablespoon daily, does not necessarily increase bad LDL cholesterol and may not be associated with heart and disease risk. That is a topic that I will get into later, so stay tuned. There's a big there's a big scandal against that. It all has to do with our president, one of our presidents. I'll get into it in a few. The better butter that you can eat is butter from grass-fed cows. Like I said, be aware of imitation butter. If it's not your regular typical ingredients, which is cream, salt, I don't think it's going to be good butter for you. Period. Let me see here. Let me pop out a screen. Yeah. So in my butter that I currently have on the table, it contains two ingredients, which is cream and salt. There's a bunch of foods made with butter, as we know. Cakes, cookies, croissants, savory dishes such as butter chicken, fettuccine alfredo. Alfredo sauce contains a lot of butter. Popcorn, one of my favorites. I love popcorn. As long as it's made with natural butter. That's something you got to read the packages on the back because a lot of popcorn also comes with preservatives besides the butter in it. It's better you pop the corn yourself and make your popcorn butter at home. Then you can add as much salt or as little salt as you want. You can add a little bit of maybe sugar, maybe not, maybe some monk fruit and cinnamon instead, which is an imitation sugar, which I will get into on later videos. Let's see here, what else do I have? So the history of butter. Butter is an ancient food likely discovered accidentally in 6500 BCE by nomadic tribes, herdsmen. As the milk carried an animal skin sacks turned into butter. So this is a supposed thing. So they would put their butter into milk sacks and they would carry it on their camels' backs. And while the camels were walking, it would start turning the butter naturally. Then they discovered, oh, what's this substance on top of the butter? And on top of the milk, and it happened to turn into butter. And then they realized that they can preserve the butter easier than they can preserve milk. So it actually became beneficial for them because of that fact, which is so interesting. What else do I have here? There's something called bog butter. Another early example of butter would be the Irish peat bog butter. Scientists recently discovered that underneath a sea of peat moss lied perfectly preserved butter from over 2,000 years ago. Talk about preservatives, huh? 2,000 years ago, you had perfectly preserved butter. I don't think it was the origin of where the butter came from, but it's pretty interesting that it was preserved for 2,000 years. What else do I have? Let's go with ancient beginnings. So the earliest production of butter was obviously 6500 BC. Central use. It started being used in ancient times. Butter was not just food, but used for medicinal purposes. By Romans for coughs and sacred rituals by Hindus in Vedic areas. While Mediterranean cultures preferred olive oil, which is one of my favorite cooking bases, Northern Europe, such as Scandinavia, Ireland, France, relied on butter as their premier cooking fat. So, religious facts about butter: the Catholic Church banned dairy. However, due to its importance, people bought butter indulgences to eat it, with funds helping to build parts of the cathedral. Kind of irony. It's a catch-22. They banned dairy, but then they funded their cathedral with butter. During the Industrial Revolution, factory production started of butter. So we went from butter churners like the Amish used to do into these huge factory churning machines. It's huge. They're like giant vats. So you pour milk in them, they're silver. As a matter of fact, here's a screenshot of a giant vat butter churner. The word butter comes from Greek butyrin, meaning cow cheese. Harvard students protested the poor quality of butter served to them, marking one of the first student protests in the U.S. Early butter was made from sheep, yak, and goat milk rather than cows. So cow butter is a new aged butter. Then we're going to get into something that I looked personally up on the side about the enemy of butter, which is, where's his name at here? Where's his name? I had his name. Oh, here we go. His name is Ancel Keys. This guy is essentially the enemy of butter. So he's a psychologist at the university, or he was a psychologist at the University of Minnesota in the 1950s, primarily credited with developing the theory that saturated fat causes heart disease. Wrong. That is wrong. I can guarantee you that is wrong. Saturated fats and fatty acids actually help heart disease to a point. Everything is good. You can't indulge in butter. It's not like you can eat butter every day, but there is people who do the weekly butter test where all they eat is butter for the whole week. I would say don't do that because you need other vitamins and minerals in order to survive. So I would take that off the market if you're thinking about doing a weekly butter challenge, but people have lived off it for a week. And actually, during that week of living off the butter, you can look this up on many YouTube videos. It's pretty easy to look up, but they actually lost weight just from consuming butter because the saturated fat in butter, it burns slowly, so you don't get an appetite as quickly if you eat butter compared to a lot of other things. Once again, you can go back to the sugar theory. You eat sugar, it burns so quickly through your body. You need more and more of that substance or of any substance in order to replenish and refuel your body. And then what happens to the leftover substances is it turns into fat. Same with starches. You know, potatoes are another thing I'll get into. I'm not a big potato fan, but I will get into it. And they do have a lot of vitamins and minerals that you need in your body. I just don't agree with the starches. So that's something for a different time. I'm getting a little off topic here about Ansel Keys. So he developed this controversy that saturated fat was like basically the enemy of America because one of our presidents, so he was the first to raise the red flag on dairy products and saturated fat, which really affected butter consumption. And we went into this huge diet spree where we essentially flipped the food pyramid upside down. And it's really affected many of the Americans. This is why a lot of us have problems with diabetes. You should not be consuming bread every day in the large quantities that we consume it. I am currently coming up with a bread substitution that is actually healthy for you, and it doesn't contain any bread or too much carbohydrates. It will contain some, but it's something I'm working on. Um, you know, in modern days, we're starting to reverse the psychology that butter is bad for you. Scientific tests are coming out right now proving that butter is not really bad for you. It's actually the opposite. It's actually good for you. You know, obviously you don't want to eat a whole entire thing like this of butter, but I mean, you can, but I mean, I wouldn't. But butter is good. You know, if you want to throw 2 tablespoons in a recipe that calls for 1 tablespoon, it's not going to harm you. It may harm the recipe, but usually with my eggs, I cook eggs with this every day. Usually with my eggs, I'll throw in like 2 tablespoons, so I get that little greasy, buttery taste afterwards, and I don't think it's bad. Butter usually comes salted or unsalted. I prefer salted, but that's just my opinion. Bottom line is, don't be afraid of butter, guys. Butter's not bad, not too bad for you. And I'm not saying, once again, go eat a huge bulk of it, but don't be afraid of this. Don't be afraid of this beautiful God's gift to earth, which is butter. I hope you have a good day.